Alright guys, so this is another Patreon request, and this one comes from Hunter Johnson, who asked me to do a video similar I did that Mount Vernon kid requested me to do of 10 heroes versus Michael Myers. And so we're going to go 20 heroes versus Belos. And unlike there, Hunter left me a list of characters to use. So yeah. But as always, before we get started, I'd like to, if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below. Head on over to my Patreon where you guys can start sending me requests for videos to do here on YouTube. But other than that, let's get started with the video. And yeah, so starting off with the first hero, we're going to go through like quick synopses of if I think a character can or can't beat a character in this list. So let's get started. So starting off at number 1 is Steven Universe. Steven versus Belos. Who would win in that fight? I'm gonna give it. Could Steven beat Belos? I think he could. I think he really could, but Steven would be like, "Oh, but you just need a hug. You know, you're just misunderstood." That's the problem, is that Steven would probably refuse to see that he's bad and be like, "Oh, but your family, you really do love your brother," and that might get him killed. So Steven has to get the whole, you know, "we are the crystal gems" bullshit out of the way so he can do his job and take him out. Because I do think, you know, he's a diamond, basically. He could take out Belos. So yeah, I'm going to give that one to Steven. Number 2 is Ash Williams. Could Ash beat Belos? I do think it's close. While I do think it is close that Ash could, in a fight between Ash and Belos, Ash has taken on worse. Remember, this is the same guy who has taken on the likes of Freddy, Jason, Vampirella. He has taken on, a ton of characters. And, he's taken on Deadite. Of course, we can't mistake the armies of Deadites and damned souls that he has fought for ages now. He has taken on... If Ash has taken on a lot of characters with just a boomstick and a chainsaw, I think he can... I do think, honestly, he could handle... I really do think he could handle Belos. Because Belos is not expecting, lead magic. He's not expecting lead magic and chainsaw magic, let's say that. So yeah, Ash Williams. I think I'm gonna give it slightly to him. Next up, Dipper Pines. No. Could Dipper beat Belos? No. Oh, but he's intelligent. Yeah. Belos is a fucking nightmare. So, yeah. Belos is 1 and 2 right now. He would... Dipper... While I do make Dipper a lot different in the fanfiction, in the Infinityverse, this is not that character. Like, this is just normal, regular Dipper Pines, nobody at his side. Him forced to go one-on-one with Belos? Yeah, no magic either. Yeah, no. Nope. So Belos right now is 1 and 2. So Dipper, no way. Jenny, aka Jenny Wakeman, aka XJ9. Jenny has never really fought... Here's the thing. Jenny has never really battled supernatural beings. She's never really done battle with a lot of supernatural beings. She's encountered a few, but not enough to really give her experience. She's mostly battled, like, science fiction and, giant monsters and aliens and whatnot, and, of course, other robots. So, the big thing you have to... That's a big thing you have to take into account here. However, though, Jenny, I do think is going to probably come out with the win, because here's the thing. Jenny's got a body count. Jenny doesn't, Jenny could, is willing to take out someone who is a monster. Like, she will blow your shit to atoms. She's a walking arsenal, and Belos is, would think she's some kind of mindless automaton that he could, manipulate or something. So, yeah. I do think that, Belos would just get obliterated by Jenny. So, yeah, I do think that, so I'm going to give that one to Jenny. Next up, we have Raiden from Mortal Kombat. Yeah, Raiden's coming out with the dub in this one. Raiden is another character that gets the dub in this matchup because, yeah, first off, he's a god. Unlike Belos, Raiden is an actual god, and he's taken on much worse things than Belos. And Belos is not much of a fighter. We've clearly seen that, you know, and that's the other thing I didn't really talk about with these past few fights, is that Belos, while he has all this power, it's clear he's having trouble holding it together. That's something you really have to take into account, is that he uses all of these, like, different magical abilities and goo, but that's the thing. It really tears apart his body, and he needs talismans to keep going. Raiden doesn't have that problem. Raiden in no way, shape, or form has that same problem that Belos has. He could easily, Raiden can just keep going and just finish Belos. Yeah, so there you go. Sailor Mercury. So one-on-one with Sailor Mercury. Yeah, Belos is... This is another L for Belos, because, yeah, the Sailor Senshi are really powerful. And also, like I said before, Belos needs to recharge, and he has to hold it. He has to take a lot of physical thought to keep his body together. Not only that, Mercury has that visor that allows her to detect weaknesses in her opponents. So she's going to detect a lot of the weaknesses in Belos' body. So just exploit that. Yeah, so there you go, Sailor Mercury. Moving on now to Samurai Jack. Samurai Jack. Yeah, this is another loss for Belos. Samurai Jack is a master swordsman and martial artist and everything. This guy has literally taken on monsters that would make Belos shit himself. And of course, Aku. That sword, you know, of course the sword is gonna do... Also, that thing is made by the gods and can literally kill Aku. What do you think it's gonna do to Belos' janky-ass body? Like, really, what do you think is gonna happen when that sword cuts Belos? Just once. That's all I need to say. Next up, we have Obi-Wan Kenobi. It doesn't even matter what era of Obi-Wan this is, whether it be, you know, New Hope, or the Kenobi Show, or Clone Wars. Maybe it'd matter in Phantom Menace, but we're talking like Obi-Wan. If we're talking like Obi-Wan any point past that, yeah, this is another loss for Belos. This is the same thing I said about Samurai Jack. This is the same thing I said about Samurai Jack, but you just applied to Obi-Wan, who is even more, and of course has the Force on his side. This is a dude who literally has conquered trials within himself. You know, I think he would also mock Belos a lot, and Belos would just get so frustrated he'd try to unleash everything he had to kill Obi-Wan. But that lightsaber is going to do the same thing Jack's sword does to Belos. Cut him. Next up we have Rambo, John Rambo. John had, of course we're talking, if not counting the Mortal Kombat stuff, he was a guest character though, so I don't think it counts. But Rambo is a pretty smart being, but he's just a normal guy with a lot of guns. Do I think his guns are probably going to do some damage to Belos? Yeah, but he's never really fought, like, again, I'm excluding the Mortal Kombat stuff because he was just a guest character. But, yeah, Rambo himself, I think this is a loss for Rambo, because Belos is just a monster. He's just, Rambo could probably, do, traps on him, and I could definitely see Rambo, taking out, members of the Emperor's Coven, the Coven Guards, kind of do what he did in First Blood and take out the Coven Guards, and maybe drop one or two of the Emperor's Coven, but Belos himself, I don't think that's the case. So there you go, Belos, you have your next win. The Shadow. So the Shadow is an interesting one, because I think this might be another win for Belos, but I do think it's going to be a lot harder. The Shadow is a very tough opponent. Master hand-to-hand fighter, marksman, and he's got a pretty powerful mind behind him too. He's got his own little mind tricks here and there that Belos, I think, would fuck with Belos, but I am going to give it to Belos at the same time. The Shadow's never really come up against someone who's literally just this demonic entity, for lack of a better word. So there you go. So congratulations, Belos. You have 3 wins so far. Next up, Batman. Nope, he ain't beaten Batman. I don't think Belos can beat Batman. Not because I'm trying to sound like a Batman, freak, but just because Batman's going to outthink him. He has fought monsters way scarier and villains more scarier than Belos, and I think Belos would actually get freaked out by Batman. And yeah, Batman's probably got the tech. And also, Batman's encountered magic before. He's just gonna throw on the nth metal brass knuckles and then just go to town on Belos. So that's another one. Next up, we have Superman. Another loss. Now, I know what you're thinking, but Belos has magic. Superman's weak to magic. Belos is also an idiot who is more so arrogant and xenophobic that he'd be ranting about how aliens are just as bad as witches, and Superman would just go like, I see your point, and raise you fist. Bam! Yeah, like I said, Belos is not a fighter. He depends more on his power and his, his like intellect and like his just kind of like his or like reputation as emperor to get him through. Superman has actually taken on opponents, so that's another loss for Belos. Next up, we have Johnny Blaze Ghost Rider. Another loss for Belos. Just 2 words: penance stare. Just imagine, like, Belos being hit with the penance stare by Ghost Rider. That's not only, like, because remember, palismans are living things, too. So he's going to feel all the pain and agony of not just the people of the Boiling Isles that he's, like, entombed and enslaved, but also all the palismans he's consumed. He's going to, like, feel just agony. And not only that, all the hunters, all the cloned versions of his brother he's felt. He is going to be fucked up. Let's just say that. He is just going to get completely fucked up. Wolverine. It's another loss. Wolverine is another guy who's had tons of experience against magical opponents as well, and Belos is not a fighter. He may get the drop on Wolverine and fuck him up a bit, but I don't see him he could probably. Here's the thing, I think he could survive a few stabs from the claws, but Wolverine just doesn't stop stabbing. He's just going to keep stabbing you until you go down. So he's just going to be slush by the end of it. Next up, we have Princess Luna from My Little Pony. Another loss. Luna might be in a little trouble because, yeah, Belos might, get the drop on her a few times, but Luna literally controls the moon. And also, she's almost godlike. And I know what you're going to say, but she's lost a lot of fights. Yeah, that's true. And in one way, I could give this to Belos. But the reason I'm not is because Belos is more concerned about himself than anything else. And like I said, I always go back to Belos. If this fight continued, it might go in Belos' favor at the beginning. But as the fight went on, it's gonna go in Luna's way because Belos' body is just gonna start breaking down the longer it drags out. So it's going to go eventually to Luna. So there you go. Next up, we have Puss in Boots. That's an interesting one. I wasn't expecting that one. Puss beat Death. He beat Death in a fight. I mean, he didn't kill Death, obviously, but he did win the fight. But I don't know if that sword's going to do anything. I don't know if that's well, I think I might give it to Puss, because I think he might, figure out how to fight him, just dart around and also make Belos hurt himself. So I think I might give it to Puss, just for shits and giggles. Next up, we have Judge Dredd. Judge Dredd is... Here, I'm going to give this to Dredd, even though, like I said, Rambo couldn't beat Belos because he's just using guns. Judge Dredd has a gun, but here's the thing, it's constantly, changing ammo, explosive rounds, grenade rounds, flare rounds, fire rounds, and he's got experience. And unlike Rambo, Dredd has experience battling the supernatural, the death judges, the dark judges. I mean, he's taken on supernatural beings. The guy has fought xenomorphs and predators. He's got a lot, so he might be broken, bloody, and bruised, but he is going to win this fight. I'm going to give this one to Dredd. Next up, we have Shipwreck. As much as I would love to give this Shipwreck, but he's part of a team, and he's more of a team fighter. He's also more shipbound. So I might give this to Belos. Could Shipwreck win? Yeah, but he's more team-oriented, so I'm gonna give that one to Belos. Next up, we have John Wick. As much as I love Baba Yaga, it's the same problem. It's just guns. And yeah, he could probably duck and dodge and and evade. Belos is using all of his magic crap. But the thing is, those bullets aren't going to do much against a guy who's just goop. So, I might, as much as I love John Wick, I'm going to give that one to Belos. And finally, Captain America. I'm going to give that one slightly to Captain America. He has taken on supernatural opponents. He's taken on monsters similar to Belos and villains similar to Belos. And I'm pretty sure that shield is going to go through Belos' head, or at least he's going to go for a decapitation. Once he realizes, oh, you're not a real thing. Sweep! For America! Throw a shield. So there you go. In total, Belos only, out of these 20 fights, Belos is 4-16. He's 4-16 in these matchups. Congratulations, you. that's 4-16. Not great odds, Belos. Anyway, so there you go, guys. But like I said, that's just my opinion. If you think Belos has a better ratio of winning, comment below, let me know. And once again, I'd like to thank Hunter Johnson for this video. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.